Welcome in, Big Blue Nation, to another episode of the Cats Talk podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Johnston, joined by my co-host today, Jacob Boyers and Tyler Britton. Guys, we've got so much to say here, and I am just chomping at the bit to get to talk about this Kentucky basketball team. The Cats took on the number one ranked Purdue. First off, let me just go ahead and say this, maybe a little bit of a fraudulent number one in this Purdue team, especially from what we saw on Friday. But the Cats do win in Rupp Arena 78-65 over the Boilermakers in what was honestly never really a close contest. And boy, did it pump up my expectations for this team and what I think this team can do. Fellas, what were some of your thoughts of watching that game on Friday night?
Man, I thought Maynor said it best when he said after the game, like, it could have been a lot worse.
Mm-hmm.
He said they were mixing guys in, and he was coaching it with pretty much his guys that are going to play nonstop. And so I think you just take Matt Painter's words for it the best. But yeah, how fun was Friday? I was sitting there sick, and it was the highlight of my past 2 days. And yeah, you talk about expectations. Mine are through the roof. We're the best team in the country. We're the best team maybe ever. some people are talking undefeated.
People are talking.
People are saying, but no. Just it was awesome. I hate that it was only a preseason game now, and it doesn't actually count towards anything because, man, that team Friday night looked really, really, really good.
Yeah, they looked good on so many different levels too, which is the crazy.
So many different guys.
And think about this, like coming into the season, if I'd have told you Ortega only plays 17 minutes, obviously no JQ, Jalen Lowe doesn't play at all, and you handle the number one team in the nation, it's insane to think about. And that's also a game in which we shot 9 of 29 from the three-point line.
Yeah.
If we shot 9 of 29 from the three-point line in a game last year, more than likely we're getting boat raced and we have no chance in winning that game. I am as excited as I can be, and I really don't know how to temper my expectations. So, Jacob, like you said, the people that are talking, I might be the people.
We might be people.
We are the people. 40-0 is what I heard, and I don't know how you can talk me off that ledge right now.
If that's the best team in the country, then we're miles ahead of everybody. But there was so much good stuff. There wasn't anybody I didn't feel like played well or didn't play well. Everybody I thought gave you nice minutes. The guys we talked about, could potentially be X factors on this team, and we'll see how they do. Let's just talk about them real quick. Jasper Johnson played phenomenal. Showed his ability to be able to create his own shot. I thought Yelovich played really well when he came in. Malachi Moreno I thought was good. There's just all these guys from top to bottom, not even to mention, what you're getting with the starting five. How about Trent Noah being in the starting five and going out there and looking like he belonged in the starting five?
And you stepped all over Tyler's toes.
I don't care.
That was the only point he had written down from watching the game. That was the only thing he had acknowledged. That was all he had. But yeah, I think that was honestly might have been, outside of how this team played, that might have been the biggest shock to me, even with the injuries. I did not think that Trent Noah was going to be the guy who would have slid in there.
No. I've been telling you guys this for almost a full year now. Trent Noah is going to be the guy. He's coming in here hot. He's already taken a starting role on the floor. I'm excited to see him. I'm excited for this, guys. Trent Noah is going to be the guy. Just hear me out.
There's a lot of things you've told me over the years, and 98% of them have been wrong and false. So I've learned to not listen to most of them, but I will say,
Fox right twice a day.
Exactly. Exactly where I was going, actually. Great minds think alike. Probably not great minds, but, subpar minds think alike as well. But you mentioned Jasper Johnson. I think that's probably where we have to start. Jake, I don't know if you got to see the episode that Tyler and I put together last week, but I talked about Jasper potentially being, the best freshman guard in the country, and that's in the realm of possibilities. And boy, did he look like it, at least on Friday afternoon against Braden Smith, who's a candidate to win Player of the Year.
I thought he showed so much. Obviously, offensively, I mean, everybody's talking about the taller version of Dillingham. I mean, you can see the shiftiness. You can see the ball handling.
I'm not there yet.
I'm not there.
I'm not there yet. I've heard it all week. I've seen
I'm,
16 different media members with inside the University of
I'm
Kentucky.
not. I'm just saying there are
Pumping, pumping.
there's flashes,
People are talking.
but I thought he looked pretty good defensively too. Now I got to be honest. Again, I said I was sick. I think I was on a NyQuil high watching this game. I was maybe hallucinating a little bit during it, but for being as sick as a dog as I was, like man, I'm a real sicko now because like I think
You're
this
sick puppy.
team is man, this is so refreshing. I gotta say, after the countless podcasts we've done the last 6 weeks about football, to have this level of glee and excitement is, man, this fan base needs it. And I mean, it is October 28th, and we're sitting here just gleaming and being at this point, it's unreal. But yeah, I thought Jasper was obviously really good. I mean, we hadn't even talked about the guy that Mark Pope said was the MVP of the game, and Colin Chandler. I mean, that dunk was filthy. I thought he did obviously everything else really, really well outside of scoring. And back to the point, like just so many guys played well, and I think that's so exciting. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, Cam. Is just this team's got so many different lineups and ways you can plug people in and out, and I think Friday night really showed that wasn't just us hoping that you can kind of have that. Like, you do have a lot of pieces that you can play at a lot of different spots and play a lot of different groups of five guys together, and I think be really successful.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. And that's the most refreshing thing that you've seen. We gave Tyler his flowers a little earlier for the Trent Noah call out about a year ago, but I do have to revisit his MVP pick of this game from last Friday. Jake, I mean, we knew it was a bad pick at the time. I'm going to wipe that smile right off your face when I tell you who he picked. He picked Brandon Garrison to be his MVP. And I'm going to come in here with a hot take. I don't even know if it's necessarily that hot of a take after seeing Malachi Moreno and Andrea Jelovich. I think by the time Jaden Quaintance gets back, I think he's the one that's squeezed out. I really do. I think you'll get to a point in the season where he's fighting for minutes off the bench. Really, you'll see him a lot when those other bigs do get in foul trouble. And, like we mentioned and kind of like we predicted, this team is so deep with those big interior guys. You're going to see them rotating a lot like we did last year with Amari and Andrew Carr, not necessarily playing a lot of minutes all at once. I think BG is going to be the one who finds his role extremely reduced, especially seeing Mo Dioubate be able to get 9 rebounds against a Purdue team who's a big, tall, lanky team who played a lot of two bigs in this game. I think you're going to see BG's role cut a lot unless he finds a way to improve.
Yeah, I mean, that's a possibility. I would be surprised if Pope would really kind of squeeze them out. I think he's a guy that Pope obviously likes a ton. But, like, real quick to that point, like, this is the kind of team that you would think, without JQ and Garrison not playing well, could give Kentucky some trouble. And it's like, and if Mo Dioubate at 6'7" can go out there and grab rebounds and position himself over guys like that, then, man, again, just endless possibilities. You play Dioubate at the 5, and if you can do that against Purdue, I think you feel pretty good about doing it against a lot of people in the country, or you don't feel as bad putting Jelovich at the 5 and having Dioubate out there with them. There's just so many endless possibilities you can run out there with this lineup. And if you can do it against that Purdue lineup, like, that's the team on paper that probably should have given Kentucky some problems. And man, they passed every test with flying colors.
Yeah. What if I were to just say that Mo Dioubate is the 6'7" Amari Williams? Because the stat line he put up in this first game is eerily similar to what you would see from Amari. 8 points, 9 rebounds on 4 of 7 shooting, 2 steals and an assist, and one of the better plus minuses of the game. I mean, that just looks like an early season Amari Williams stat line that you would see. And both lefties, both don't have the prettiest jump shot. Both of them, you might necessarily want them taking that three, but if they are open, they have the ability to hit it. Obviously, Mo's a better shooter than Amari was. But at 6'7", if he can grab 9 boards, especially like you mentioned against a Purdue lineup like that, I think it really lets Pope get creative and lets that staff find ways in which, run Malachi at the 5 and, just run quick up and down the floor, especially when JQ gets back. You imagine how fast this team can play once he comes back. I mean, this team can fly up and down the court, and those open threes in transition start to become more and more open. Each time I explain a new point, it gets me to I'm more excited and more excited. Like I'm almost to the point where I almost want to stop talking and just let you guys take over a little bit so I can kind of pump the brakes myself.
Let me get you a little more excited. You just kind of referenced it. Imagine it's late January and JQ's back. Dude, how do teams score against Kentucky? Like you could run out a lineup that would be filthy defensively, and I still think can go out there and muster up some good offense with their speed and athleticism. Like there's just you're gonna have, I think, a potential lineup to answer anything. And like obviously, the 40-0 national title, like that is, we're getting ahead of ourselves and we're just being Kentucky fans. Like, this team's gonna take some losses and but the floor definitely, in my opinion, elevated, right? Like the ceiling's probably, I think, still about kind of where I thought. Like this team has obviously the potential to be a Final Four team. They'll probably need like an elite level score, and that could very well be low, or maybe you just do it almost by committee. But my floor has definitely risen. Like I don't see a world where this team is not one of the best 10 teams in college basketball throughout the season.
Yeah, and I think I'm right there with you. I almost think the floor of this team is at least like that Sweet 16. Obviously, you can get a rough draw, but you kind of mentioned it there. I do think this is a team in Purdue that Kentucky does match up well against. I'll be interested to see, like, once we get into SEC play against, bigger, more athletic guys, especially on the wings, how we match up there, because Purdue is usually not known for their athleticism, and it's usually what comes to bite them in the tournament most times. So I'll be interested to see once we get into SEC play how that ticks up with the athleticism. But I'm about as excited as you can get. I don't really know what more I could have seen in this game outside of maybe shooting the three a little bit better. Only 9 of 29 in this game, and that included Tyler's counting it. I said it should go for negative points when Trent Noah banked in one from the front. I think that's a loss of possession and minus 3 points to us. But Tyler was celebrating. So Tyler, go ahead and take your victory lap here with how well Trent Noah played.
Hey, Trent Noah is going to do Trent Noah things. He's going to make the threes. I was kind of surprised he didn't make his first 2 shots. I was very disappointed. I got me a little worried there. But he got his points in there. I think he ended the game with 10 points on the board. So happy for him. But I'm on board with you guys. I think Jasper Johnson was my highlight of the game as well, for obvious reasons. He stole the show on game day. I am a little disappointed in Brandon Garrison, as we were talking about earlier. He was my pick for last week. I'm honestly kind of doing it more so from my heart here. I was hoping he would have a little bit of a better game, because I feel like his role is under pressure at this point. But I think we have another expedition game. I think he'll get his time in early. He definitely has time to make sure that he can solidify a role on his team. This is a good exhibition game. We were talking about it last week, Cam, that this is a really good matchup for an exhibition game. Really good look for it. I think Mark Pope's definitely taking the numbers here to see what we can improve on. But I'm excited to see what we can do as a team going into next week, but really into the season here.
Yeah, and I will say something. I thought Ortega actually looked a lot better than I was expecting him to. Obviously, he'd been sidelined for a couple months with that turf toe. I was expecting him to look a little bit more rusty than he was in this game. 10 points on 4 of 9 shooting. Basically looks like an Ortega line from last year. Gets to that double-digit mark on roughly 50% shooting. And the thing that I love the most, I think, about this game was how about the defense on Braden Smith? It felt like, especially for a guy who National Player of the Year candidate, we get limited him to 3 of 9 and only ends up with 5 assists and 2 turnovers. I think they did a great job on Braden Smith, and those are a lot of guys who you were kind of a little wary about. We've talked about how we wanted Ortega to take that next step defensively and own the game on both sides of the ball. Seeing Jasper be able to control Braden Smith as well. And then you mentioned it, Colin Chandler, obviously only 2 points in this game, but the biggest plus minus at plus 15. I mean, we're getting to the point where I think if Colin Chandler can just hit down consecutive or just reliable 3-point shooter with how good of a defensive presence he is and the athleticism he brings to the floor, I think Colin Chandler's going to be really, really good this year.
It's going to be really hard to keep him off the floor this year. To your point, I think he can give you so much, and I think he will be that kind of, I don't know, knockdown 3-point shooter, but he'll be more than viable. But
that's all I'm asking for. I'm just looking for like 35% from 3, something of that nature, something to where he's got an open shot, you feel comfortable about him hitting it.
He was the highest plus minus on the floor.
It's almost like I just said that.
I'll say, and you kind of referenced this, Cam, like the thing that just gave me so much optimism about this game is just, it wasn't just like Kentucky went out and shot the ball crazy good and Purdue missed all these open shots, and Purdue was not getting good looks. Like the defense, again, Jasper Johnson, like I felt like he was a high D1 level scorer already, but I didn't think he would really be able to see the floor too much because of defense. But like, if you can do it against Braden Smith, you're going to be able to do it against a lot of guys in in college basketball. And yeah, maybe once we get to SEC, some of these guys will be a little too quick for him. But like, again, like Braden Smith is not some slow, unathletic white guard. Like, so I don't know, just the defense was a huge shock to me. I thought this team had potential to be good. I thought, we'd be talking about the defense in moments, but to really see it for a full 40 minutes, again, I know it's just the opening preseason game, but to see him do it for 40 minutes against that team gave me a lot of excitement.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. And that was actually, we ended up losing the turnover battle in this game as well. I mean, there are certain things that, like, you look at it, and I'm like, I don't think we played nearly, our best game, even for what we are early in the season. I can't imagine what that starts to look like once you get, closer to conference play, get back to full strength. And that's something crazy to think about. Also, something that I did love to see, even though, granted, it was 4 seconds of this game, but having Braden Hawthorne on the inbounder when you're coming out of a timeout, how long and lanky he is, there's some small things like that I look at that I really loved. And obviously, that was only his 4 seconds that he played in this game. But was there anybody that you guys saw during this game? Tyler, you kind of mentioned it with Brandon Garrison. You wanted to see a little bit more from him. Is there anybody that you came out of this game wanting to see a little bit more from, or even, wanted to see a different element of their game take a step forward?
No, I mean, outside of BG, like I said, I mean, even then, I don't feel like he played, so bad that,
it was just the Brandon Garrison experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen all year. But no, I felt like pretty much everybody that played well and showed moments and flashes.
Yep, Tyler?
I would like to see, and I know I'm a little biased with this. You guys are going to be like, oh, yeah, here we go again. A little more Trent Noah. He was out there early. He got some touches. He got the ball up there. I just feel like he could be used a little bit more, and I'm very interested to see how Mark Pope wants to use him this year. Again, we weren't even expecting him to see him on the floor to start the game. So the fact that he was out there just shows that Mark Pope does have faith in him and trust in him. This guy's a 2-time reigning 3-point contest winner of the year. So, we got to see what this guy can do. And I think that he can step up a little bit. I think of Kobe Brea from last year, the guy who could always consistently hit those three balls. I think Trent Noah could easily step into that role too, if asked upon. So I would like to see more of him legitimately, not just saying as like, oh yeah, I'm a Trent Noah supporter. Like, no, I'm actually legitimately saying, hey, like I'd like to see more of Trent Noah and see how he can hit, if he can be utilized in that kind of role.
Yeah, and like Jacob, I think you had mentioned it the podcast before this. You kind of want to make sure Trent Noah doesn't fall into that Travis Perry from last year, where all preseason you're just hearing, "Oh, he can't miss," and then going into the season, it doesn't necessarily translate. He banked in one of those threes. I don't know how much credit I give him for that. 1 for 4 in this game. I think there's going to be a lot of open shots for Trent to get this year, and he's just Tyler. If he's Kobe Brea 2.0, if he's able to hit shots like Kobe was, he's going to play a lot, and I think he's going to at least have like 25 minutes a game if he's able to hit it at that clip. But a guy that I want to say I was a little underwhelmed by, or maybe not even underwhelmed is the way to say it. I thought I'd see more athletically from Cam Williams. I thought he was a little bit of a liability on the defensive side of the ball. I thought with him being, 6'9", long, lanky, have great athleticism, I thought he'd be better defensively. It's kind of something that caught me off guard. I mean, you've heard about it all off season. Like that's where he needed to improve. I was hoping to see a little bit more from him in that aspect, but I mean, again, we kind of mentioned it a while ago, but what if he's just your athletic version of Ansley Almanor, and that's just his role for this team? And it's a great problem to have when you're nitpicking, the ninth and 10th guys on the roster.
Yeah, it's almost part of it is like he's a guy I almost kind of forgot about. Like we went so long without talking about him, but I just think it just shows how many pieces are on this team. But yeah, if you tell me he's just going to play that Ansley Almanor role at a much more athletic version of it, then as good of a shooter. I mean, he's not a guy that's afraid to shoot. He pulled a few, and I mean, he made a couple, and obviously, I think he airballed one, but
He
neither
did,
here nor
yeah.
there.
He did.
But like, there's just so many pieces with this team. But I thought Denzel Aberdeen gave you everything you kind of were expecting from him.
22 minutes into the podcast, and we just now mentioned
I know.
Denzel Aberdeen,
The
who's a
leading, I mean, he
national
played the most
champion.
minutes on the team,
Yep.
right? Like, and we're 22 minutes in before we talk about him. There's so much depth, but like, I actually am starting to think Aberdeen's going to be the guy that's probably just going to be like the most underrated player on the team. Like, I fully expect him to go out there and just like Friday night, play a ton of minutes, play really, really well, do all the little things you need, hit shots here and there, and he'll be a guy that after each game, we're not talking about him negatively because he doesn't play bad, but maybe he doesn't have the stats to pop like a Owe or, Low, but we're going to, by the end of the year, just be like, man, he is just so consistent and that leader that you need it. And I think by the end of the year, we'll be talking about him as just the most underrated player on this team.
Yeah, and I do think he is, not because of this game. I think he has cemented himself as a starter in this lineup. I know we went back and forth on it for a little while of who might take that spot once, everybody's healthy and comes back. I think it's definitely Denzel's to lose. And based on what he did against Purdue, I mean, defensively, I mean, he drew the Braden Smith, comp there for a while, and he was able to hold him in check. And you mentioned 29 minutes. Obviously, didn't shoot the ball too well, only 1 of 5 from three. So that's something you would definitely like to see get better. But he was second on the team in the plus minus, plus 14, 3 assists, only 1 turnover. I think that's kind of what you're looking forward to with him being that calming presence to where, let's say it's not Jalen's night, the shots aren't falling. Okay, let's have Denzel run it, see what we can get through there. And I think having that, Noah's Ark mentality of 2 of everything, I think is really going to get this team and take them to that next level. And that's something we kind of knew, but seeing it in person against what everybody was saying was the number 1 team in college basketball is a different thing.
I don't know what else to say besides I'm so excited for these games to start counting. We obviously, we get Georgetown here in a couple days, but I mean, I got November 4th circled on my schedule. I'm ready for Louisville now. I'm ready to little bro Kelsey yet again, and this season can't actually fully start soon enough for me.
Yeah, it's so weird. We're, what, 13, 14 days away from that Louisville game?
Yeah.
Basically, like 2 weeks out from that Louisville game. That is insane to think about. First off, how
October
early it is.
28th.
Yeah.
We're not even to Halloween yet.
It's insane. I mean, we've got 3 games until then. Obviously, we got this exhibition against Georgetown. Then we face Nichols and Valparaiso. And then guess what? You mentioned it. Convis Lund and little brother Pat Kelsey with those dorky glasses that he wears. Did you see they were like giving those out as like a donor gift? I mean, what a nerd! What are we gonna do? Have like everybody gets a bald haircut like Mark Pope if you donate over $500,000 of the program? I don't understand.
I know it was nothing in the grand scheme of things, but that picture of Bill Self like slapping him on the chest as he turns around,
It was very funny.
That was the funniest thing I think I've ever seen. And like Kelsey, I mean, hey, I'm a little guy. I'm not very tall. I get it. Like you're gonna have moments where you feel like, the little brother, and that was just like that. Just felt like, Bill Self just kind of giving him a little pat on the head and being like, better luck next time, little buddy.
Yeah, Michael Brown really struggled in that game, especially against Darren Peterson. Really took over that game. I mean, that's what we're looking forward to. I hate to say it because there's 3 football games in between now and then, and we're not looking forward to a single one of those. But we're over here talking and smiling from year to year about an exhibition game in October. I mean, this is what Big Blue Nation is. Unfortunately, me, I hate to say it. I hate it. I really do. You guys know this. I hate to say that this is a basketball school. Obviously, it is. Mark Stoops is not helping my case here in the slightest. If he could help out, that'd be appreciated. But anything you guys want to say about this exhibition or what you want to see on Thursday against the Georgetown Hoyas, anything you're looking for? Anybody you want to see take another step? Anything you want to see Pope do with this lineup? Change it in, change it out? What are you guys looking for on Thursday?
I got to be honest. I'm not going to pretend to know a ton about Georgetown right now, but I will say
exhibition game. These are all
exactly.
preseason games as well.
Yeah, exactly. But I will say I would just like to, just not see some type of step back. Now, do I expect all 10 guys to go out and play really well again? Probably not. So maybe a little bit of a better showing from BG. But in reality, I would like to see, obviously, take care of business, but Pope be able to mix and match lineups again consistently and play a bunch of different guys together and, have everybody just kind of, again, probably have nobody over 21, 22 minutes and just kind of continue to tinker around and show us what could come throughout the year and figure out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, I'm on board with Boyers here. I think, much of the same that we saw against Purdue, maybe a little bit more rotation. I do want to see a little more schematic plays. Again, piggybacking off of my take earlier about Trent Noah, just finding ways to get him open, have those open ball shots and see what he can do. Not just him, but other players on the team too. I think we can get those shots that can just be consistently made and, we get those plays in and, we have a good play in the preseason game here. That'll translate well as we go into the regular season, as we play some bigger competition later down the road.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see this team maybe play a little bit more, I don't know if I want to say up-tempo in this game, because there was a lot of shots that they took early in the clock on this one. I'd like to see them get out in transition a lot more in this game against Georgetown. It kind of felt like we weren't getting out in transition as much as I would like. And when we were really capitalizing on that. Something that I'd like to see. Also, I know what Denzel Aberdeen is. I don't know if I need to see him 30 minutes in this exhibition. Maybe run sets in which we have Jasper and Colin Chandler both on the floor at the same time. Get looks in which you're going to want to see later in the season, because I think I want to treat this one more as an exhibition than we did the Purdue game. I will actually want to tinker around with the lineups, move guys in and out off the bench. I think this is the one to truly treat it like the game really doesn't count and the result doesn't count. Even though, let's be honest, we were to come out and lose to Georgetown, we'd have an immediate emergency podcast. So maybe not. Boyers might not show up. Maybe a Friday night. I don't know if he could do that. But
still be figuring out where I'm going to
Guys,
hang banner number
I'm
9.
back to tell you.
I mean, that's what I'm looking forward to. But man, it's great to have basketball back in the Bluegrass. Thursday at Rupp Arena against the Hoyas. Guys, you got anything you want to sound off on here before we let Big Blue Nation out of here?
Let's get to these games counting for real, because I am fired up and ready to go.
Yeah, we are so very close to these games starting to count. Obviously, we got one more test before that. The Georgetown Hoyas on Thursday at Rupp Arena, 7:00 tip-off. That is going to be all for us with the Cats Talk podcast. Cameron Johnston, Jacob Boyers, and Tyler Britton. Follow us on Instagram, on X, on TikTok. And guess what? We're everywhere you get your podcast. Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio. We're there and we're everywhere. Go Big Blue.
Big Blue.